Welcome to the show, Wave On. I'm Misty, the host, and thanks again for tuning in as we've kind of gotten out of this podcast funk, sort of. But we got some good vibes going on, and a special guest in this one, someone who I've been able to meet, the power of social media, the positive side of social media, where Girls Paddler Group, which... if you look it up online, Facebook, they do have a website, but we were able to connect that way, having that shared passion of teaching SUP yoga, and just in general, workshops, leading retreats and events. So we had a great conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and we'll just continue on with the podcast here. And again, thanks for tuning in, and let's check it out. Well, Heather, thanks for being on the show and being here. I really appreciate it. You're tuning in from where?
From Denver, Colorado. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and we kind of met online through the Girls Paddler Group, which was super cool. The first time I saw it was the spring, I think.
Yeah, I heard of it before, and then I finally joined the Facebook group. I became a moderator for the Denver group, and so I'm hosting some events and stuff for them, but it's a very amazing. I love the group. I love the support in that. And I'm also very excited to have found other SUP yoga teachers within that group. And it was really nice to find you, for sure.
Yeah, same here. I would love to be a moderator for Michigan. Why don't you plug what you do, your website, social media, any of that kind of stuff you want to throw out there?
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. My name is Heather Alexandar. I'm a professional astrologer, yoga teacher, and SUP yoga teacher. I'm out here in Denver, Colorado. My business is Cosmic Soulchemy. So you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and my website, cosmicsoulchemy.com, just at Cosmic Soulchemy on socials. And, we really try to blend the cosmic world into the physical world. And so a lot of the classes that I host have some sort of cosmic element to it, whether it's we're in a new sun season, or it's a moon phase that we should be aware of, or right now we're having the eclipse season portal starting up next Tuesday, I believe. We're having an eclipse. And so just bringing some more awareness about the cosmic energies and the cosmic world, and uniting that with our world here on Earth, because these cosmic energies affect us in different ways that we might not be used to. So it gives us an opportunity to navigate our lives with a little bit more information.
That's amazing. I love it. I don't study it probably in depth as like you do, but just, having the business name of Luna Moon, and just like the moon and the stars, like I have all those themes and stuff with I don't know. It's just kind of how it came together. I think it's all of that non-forced energy, right?
Mm-hmm. And Luna, moon, and especially with SUP, it just goes so well because, the moon the lunar gravity affects the waters and stuff like that. We're made up of water. So it gives us this opportunity to tap into that flow. I think your name is beautiful.
Oh, thank
you.
The
name of your business is perfect. Yes.
Thank you. Last night, or in the last 2 nights, and I'm sure we'll see it again on our paddle this evening, sunset, and then this little sliver of moon at the same time. It's like unique that you see both of those at the same time like that.
Yes. I saw that too. And then I think it was Venus setting right after the sun. It was really bright. Wow. So keep your eyeballs peeled for that. You might see Venus peeking through the clouds. Super bright star. Can't miss her.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we're having some amazing weather here this past week, and we were really enjoying like almost every minute of it out here on Sylvan Lake. Just the temperatures and the sunsets and the water being even calm. I think last night was like, actually the one of the paddlers with us, he said it. He goes, I think this is the most paddlers I've seen out, not with our group, but like other people. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, cause there was like a gang of them that passed us, and it was all, I was excited to see him. So I'm like, oh my gosh, hey, how's it going? And then there were some other people. And wow, it was, I don't know, it was a really nice night.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Like being on the water and seeing just dozens of paddlers enjoying nature in this different way, right? Because we go hiking, we can walk around on land. That's cool, right? But when you take the element into the water, right, you have the inconsistency of the water because you're buoyant, you're floating around. You know, there's not like a hard surface to stand on other than your board. You know, so you're floating and you're putting your toes in the water. You're feeling the cold of the water, you know, and then the contrast of the warmth on your skin and the breeze and the animals and all the things. It opens you up in this different way. I feel like I've read some kind of scientific article that said being on the water specifically calms our nervous system in a way that land doesn't, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
And we're all so dang stressed out. Anytime we get a chance to, you know, relax our nervous systems, especially just being on water, yoga on the water, man, sign me up.
Absolutely. I've had many people sort of admit it, but also some that don't know it's happening to them, but it's the power of the water and just de-stressing or just for mental stability, going through like a rough time. I mean, I think day to day is probably rough enough, but I mean, if you're really in a traumatic state, I think the water just has a way to kind of soothe that away.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
I think you had a cool event. You might have already had it. I'm not sure. Was it a paddler or about pirates and mermaids?
Girl, yes. So that's coming up on the 25th.
Nice.
Sorry, I got real excited about that.
Awesome.
It's coming up on the 2nd. And so that is in association with the Girl Paddlers group. So that's one of my events that I'm hosting this year. Did try to host a glow paddle. I think it was in July. We just didn't get enough people coming. We just didn't get enough people coming. I don't know if I didn't advertise for it enough, or maybe it was so new, but I'm hoping, and got a lot of excitement for the Pirates and Mermaids. But, you know, I was thinking I want to do something fun, right? Like a themed kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everybody does the witches paddle, which is cool. I love seeing witches on the water, right?
Mm-hmm.
But mermaids and pirates just seemed a little bit more in alignment with, you know, paddleboarding, you know, 'cause we're on the water.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm kind of a nerd. When I see people on the water, I say, ahoy, matey. So I've already got the pirate vibes going. I know.
No, I love it. I am the same in a way. There was times I didn't do it really this year because maybe I've grown a little in the business, but I'm still goofy. I wore a shark hat while I was teaching a few years back.
Yes. Yes.
It was actually kind of during the pandemic, and I just felt like people are just so stressed out. There's this and that going on, and I had another relationship where we were sharing, like, because she would dress up too and be on her paddleboard. And I was like, I went up north and I found this like cool little baby shark hat and was just wearing it like normal and just talking to them. And they're showing up and they're like, okay, that's pretty funny. Like,
it just gives people a chance to let their guard down. You know, like you said, to laugh, to smile, to kind of shake it off a little bit.
Exactly.
You know, that pandemic was not cool for a lot of us. It was really tough.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There was just too much going on.
So much. And man, you know, we talked about our nervous systems being overwhelmed and, you know, taking the stress out onto the water and just letting it flow. I mean, I can just imagine how many people found relief with, you know, you teaching throughout the pandemic that way. So thank you for being of service.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll take it because, you know, they're grateful, you know, but sometimes you take it for granted, you know, like you do it all the time and, you know, it's a good thing. And I try not to take what I have for granted, you know, but when people comment and stuff, it's like, yes, you know, like move on. And then I have to rethink about that. I'm like, you know what, that should be journaled at least, you know, not for ego, just to keep my motivation going.
Yeah. So you remember, right? And then you can go back into your journal when you're feeling kind of down or sad. Girl, it's insane the type of motivational speakers we turn into when we're journaling.
True.
You know,
yeah.
And then go back and read it. And you're like, wow, I love you, but you're talking to yourself.
Right.
Yeah, please do
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Please do that.
Another thing too, I don't know about you, but I started a paddle log this year, and well, since I teach a lot, it's hard to make it all about my paddle journey, but
Okay.
I kind of weave it in a little. I found a way to sort of do it, and then I couldn't help myself but write about past ones too, because celebrating 7 seasons, it was like kind of came natural to me to reflect on some of the past memories, the things that helped build or the people that supported and are still around even. I mean, that's amazing.
Yes. I have to say, I mean, I'm only in my third season. You know, we just finished our third season. Well, almost.
Mm-hmm.
This coming Sunday will be our last SUP Yoga brunch of the season. But, you know, that's so powerful to be able to, like you said, have those memories, to look back at them. 7 years is that's a big milestone, you know?
Yeah.
Tell me more about the paddling logs that you're creating. What are you documenting? What kind of information?
Well, good question. I have it with me right now. Let me see here. At first, I was like, just keep it loose. Sometimes they even helped with like a social media post, I have to admit. And in really, I was like, oh, it's the beginning of the season. Let's start out. Of course, in the beginning of the season, everything is so gun-ho. I don't know about you, where you're at, but people are anxious to get on the water. They're like, I'm going to do this, and I am too, And
Yep.
yeah. And so at first it's like I have a little bit of time to do more personal things. So it kind of started out that way. And then I'd write like a little blurb or something about that particular night. Like I went to a different lake the first time this year, and goals, because there's a lot of lakes around where I live. And
yes, there are.
we've got great lakes, which are the big ones, but the inland lakes, there's a ton of them. And
I Googled your area, crazy lakes. There's all kinds of water over there. I was like, wow, you got so much.
I know, trust me. And sometimes it's hard to even choose. And so anyway, it kind of going back to this whole like more community vibe and building and, even finding more people and stuff. I did a personal paddle over on another lake. Little bit of a drive, I hit some construction getting there and that kind of thing, but just to meet up with other people. And they were having it was a taco night. So you launch, paddle across the lake, and over was a little dock, like a little service dock, and they were taking orders for tacos. So I thought, wow, this is very unique, and just, meeting other people and, just kind of doing a little paddle, but also some dinner and chill.
Yeah, get a snack, dinner. Heck yeah, that's amazing. Was it a restaurant, or was it like they had the tacos just there and they just put them together? Or
they would take the order at the dock, they'd write it down, and then go across the street to their, I think it's more like a convenient kind of store, like a little mom and pop shop. And they have stuff, you can buy to drink, or, the tacos, they make them in there and then bring them back out all, packaged up for you and everything. And yeah.
I love that. I've seen a lot of different like paddle and dinner type of thing. I think you did a pizza paddle. Didn't you do that?
Yeah. So
girl, that was so cute. I was like, pizza and paddle? This lady is killing it.
I try.
I was inspired.
So the pizza actually was the next night. And you know what I thought? I thought, people are going to think, God, does she just like to eat?
Paddling takes out so much energy from you. You really work up a sweat, okay? So you've got to have a snack.
This is true. So I had and it's funny because reflecting even back to the beginning of the season, like I was saying, so much more time to plan things, to make all these like special things going on. And then once the season gets going, it just spirals. Like it just, like the train is going, and it is going really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a pizza float, and I'm pulling this pizza float and not even realizing like how much it's like dragging me down, like paddling.
Oh my gosh, really?
So it was kind of slow. But I also brought a cooler with me too, so I had that on, like, strapped on my board too. And then this one was actually in my own little lake community here in Sylvan, and they had just pizza food trucks there. Nice. And they weren't slices. They were actually like a mini whole pizza. So one of the girls comes back and she goes, so it's a whole pizza. And I don't think I can eat it all.
Did she like fold it up like a taco and start eating it from one side?
She did. Yeah. She had a few pieces like where we kind of anchored, they could either sit on their board or there was like a little grassy knoll kind of area. And
I love it.
she had a dry bag and she goes, I think this is going to fit in my dry bag and we'll see how this works out for tomorrow's leftovers. Yeah. Yeah. So that was actually, I put in the paddle log. So yeah, even though, like I said, some of them are not my own personal paddles, all of them, but I can't help it. It's like, they're just great memories. And so I don't want it to be perfect. I'm just, I'll print out even like a little picture or something fun with it. If it was a destination, like a big destination paddle, then I would try to use my tracker map image and print that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of another way to document. I highly recommend it.
That is so smart. I really need to get into doing that. I went on a girls' retreat at the end of August, and I was a SUP Yoga teacher on the retreat, and we went to a new lake I'd never been to in the mountains.
Wow.
And Misty, oh my God, the views. I felt like I felt like my eyes weren't big enough to soak in all the views.
Wow.
Have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, I was sort of like that on the retreat for me, the one that I held in the UP of Michigan, and it was on Lake Superior, which that part of Lake Superior, I mean, it can be kind of rough. So to get a calm day to go out, I felt like we hit the jackpot. Like this is a bucket list right here. And whether you knew it or not, that you were going to get to do it like the other ladies. But I had so much safety concern in my mind, because I'm guiding them. And I had another girl with me who has the certification. So she was keeping an eye. We got the walkie-talkies, we got all the things. But the wall of rock that, when I look back at the pictures, I was like, wow, I wish could I have taken any more photos? I don't know. I mean.
Yeah. And especially when you don't get to see that type of view so often. Right, because I mean, I live in Denver, right? So we're on the Front Range. It's pretty flat, and then when you look west, of course, you get these gorgeous mountains. But where we were in, I think it was Rocky Mountain National Park kind of range area over there near Winter Park. Okay. And so the view east was mountains, and then when we went to the lake, it was at the foot of all these mountains, that we're constantly staring out at sunset, from Denver. And so just being in there and like the lake that we went to was called, for any listeners who might be traveling to Colorado, sure. Shadow Mountain Lake. It's right above Lake Granby, gorgeous lake, also super duper huge. And this lake was incredible. It had these giant islands, in the center of the lake. And it's not like sandy islands that you would think of, right? It's these big rock islands and they've been there for forever, and so there's, foliage and ferns and all kinds of brush kind of underneath. And then you've got these giant sort of, I don't know, pine-esque type of trees, some sort of pine trees, but I'm not a tree person, so I don't know what specific kind of trees, but it's the tall, skinny ones, and it's a whole lot of them.
Yeah, nice.
And then these giant birds. Like, I swear somebody said the word condor. I don't know if that is the type of birds that was out there, but they're huge.
Wow.
Like,
that's
eagle
amazing.
size. And paddling on there, and it was the same thing. Like you were talking about, Lake Superior. It can be kind of choppy, the wind, especially coming over the mountains. I was like, I had my meteorologist hat on, just watching the weather. But we lucked out too and had a really gorgeous day. It rained on us just a little bit, sprinkle, and then clouds parted and came out. Wind calmed down. I was like, thank God, this is wow,
Yeah.
especially on retreat, seeing something like that. And then, but that's a good idea to print out some of the maybe paddle trackers or the map that you used and some photos and put it in the journal. Man, so you can remember, I'm getting older. I just turned 40 this year. My memory is not as great as it used to be. But, to have those refreshing photos in your journal would be awesome. This is a great idea. Now.
Yeah, you should do it. I mean, it's like, I got some stickers in there too, or I even had like some stamps, like just mermaid stamps. I don't know, just stuff like that, just to keep it fun and creative, and writing even some names in there too, because one of the things that I shared, and I gave already a shout out in my other podcast about this episode of this anniversary dinner that they threw me, but wow, again though, really like a big shout out for that night. The weather came together. We actually had lost power even, and they were making food, so it was called Paddle and Plate. And yeah, so we did this amazing sunset paddle, and then they threw together this little dinner party, but a little low key. It wasn't really nice though. I mean, the spread of food, everything was just amazing, and they did a great job. And people just showed up, and we were there. And so with that, it's like what I was telling. I said a little thing. I didn't want to make it a big thing, but I had kind of shared about my paddle log that night. But I also expressed about the whole community part of it, that yeah, we do have a short season. It seems long, but there's a lot of downtime in the winter where, especially with the snow or the cold, you don't see a lot of people, or the people that you were with all summer. So there'd be some seasons go by that, hey, this person didn't get to see that person, and they'll ask me, hey, what happened to her, or where is she, or how's she doing, just questioning. And I was like, I loved that. But then at the same time, I would be like, oh man, I have to reach out to her myself and see what's going on, and not to be nosy or anything like that. It's just in a genuine concern, or just missing
I'm thinking about you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
people love that though. When you
like,
call or reach out or text, like, hey girl, thinking about you.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, someone's thinking, someone has me on their mind, on their heart.
Right. And there was a couple of them there for, in presence, that I said, she'd ask about you, and you were gone. You were missing for a whole season. And this year she's back full force and bringing out other friends. And it just happens. But, I think it's also the beauty behind social media, even like you and I meeting each other through this girl paddler group, that is a positive out of it. So
amazing. I love that. And I love that. I love what the Girl Paddlers group is so about, just really getting, it doesn't matter if you're on the paddleboard or canoe or kayak or whatever, just get yourself out there. There's a supportive community waiting for you, and I think for women, even for our paddle yoga businesses, it's scary sometimes for some women, could be men too, but to try something new outside of your comfort zone when you don't know anybody, so having that welcoming community, or a leader like such as yourself as a business owner, to give them welcome landing spot, like this inviting landing spot to come in and, kind of guide them and to have this new experience, it's beautiful.
We've talked about that quite a bit this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone on both sides. One, someone just free-spirited just shows up, and she loves paddling. She just shows up and she does it. And then she's talking to the other people in the group, laughing. They're still laughing. I don't know even what they're laughing about. Now they're on land, taking care of their gear and stuff. But how awesome, and then and again, another thing that I mentioned to them at the anniversary dinner was the fact that that's what I wanted. When I would turn around and they're exchanging phone numbers, and I'm like, I'm going to walk away now, because this is what I wanted. I don't have to be in the mix of it. They're going to go have dinner together or lunch or something. I don't know. And then there was the other side of the coin, which I was hoping that this wasn't a thing, okay, some of them know each other, and they show up often. And then the one who's brand new, thinking, wow, is this a clique? Or are
Mhm.
they, how are they super tight? Do I need to show up with a friend? And
Mhm.
it was like, that's not where I really wanted that to go. I was thinking that we were actually on the reverse. I'm not saying this really happened, but it was sort of just topics and conversation, like back and forth. And then, and then there was the other one who learned, like, oh, I can actually go by myself. And these people are really a great group of people. Like, so that one really did happen. But the other one in the
Yeah.
middle, it was sort of like, I hope that's not what's happening. But it's a
You know,
it's a
it's
1% maybe.
it's something that's in our heads, because like you said, the whole idea of creating something like this, and whether it's yoga on the land or paddling, on the water, or whatever kind of community thing that you're hosting, the idea is to bring people together, to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to feel seen and heard, and have this new experience, and to enrich their lives, right? And so you want to create that environment, and you hope, right? You hope that someone doesn't feel that type of way. As an empath myself, I try to be very aware of if I see somebody being or feeling nervous or awkward, or maybe being really quiet. I'll paddle next to them or talk to
Yeah.
them and check in with them. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about these paddle strokes? Or what are your expectations when we move into the yoga class? And try to give them like just an understanding of like, this is your class, basically. You can choose to do the yoga if you want to. You don't have to. Girl, you could lay on your back and get a suntan the whole time. And then I'll tell you halfway, and then you could flip onto your belly and get your back tan.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Like, this is for you. There's
Absolutely.
no pressure to be or do anything that's outside of your comfort zone. And so I feel like having these conversations, especially during the safety talk before we even get on the water, just gives them that peace of mind, and just makes them feel a little bit more like calm about it. And I noticed that especially with my super duper brand new paddlers, never been on the water before. They need that, reassurance.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nope. There's been a few times I've been in that scenario. What you just said. You just hope that on their drive home, they're thinking, "Wow, actually, that turned out really good," and
Yeah,
I feel good about it. After they process everything.
Yeah, exactly. And even when you're trying something new, right? You have this apprehension, your nervous system is turned on, your fight or flight, it's activated, right? Because your body doesn't know, your mind, right? Your mind knows, but your body's like, girl, we're about to do something crazy. We don't know. We're preparing. So on the retreat that I went on last month, I did have a student, never paddled, never really been on the water like that, super nervous. So I talked to her, throughout the weekend about it. And then the day of, I got everyone together, we measured our paddles, made sure our paddles were the right length and all that stuff. We did a lesson. This is how you do it. We talked about safety. And then afterward, when we got back on land and we got back to the, the log cabin or whatever we were staying at, she pulled me to the side and she was like, you know what? I really just want to thank you so, so, so much for being so attentive and for having such an elaborate safety talk about what the heck was going on, what we could expect. Because I was really nervous. That's what she said. I was really nervous. I was really scared. And I could see her on the water, right? Like I could see her, the way her face looked. Well, she was nervous. I paddled next to her most of the time. But she did great. Like during the yoga class, she did amazing. She stood up all on her own. She did fall off her board, but it was a great experience because it was very shallow water. So she was fine. Got back up, no problem. She was like, I needed to fall into the water to kind of like, just get the scaries out, a little bit. Like, yeah, you fell into the water. Cool. You got that over with. Now you feel better. If you do happen to fall in again, you know what it's going to be like. It's not scary. But so that right there, having her come to me after and say that, she felt seen, she felt heard, she felt comfortable, she felt safe was a big, like, for me, like kind of a relief, super gratitude moment. Thank God.
Yeah. There you go. Put that one in your paddle log.
That's what I'm saying. I'll put that one in the hat.
Yeah, put that one in there. That's a good one, because I have those, or I've had those a lot in the past. When you get return people, I feel like we're a little bit like we've got a mix of newbies versus experienced paddlers who are looking to explore a little bit more. So I don't know, maybe that's the next journey, is to build more experience, to do these other destinational paddles, to see something a little bit different.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, and I like that you said that, you're having these repeat clients and customers coming back, and it's cool to see them grow with their skills and their confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
I know. That's kind of how I feel here ending the season. But even to segment that a little, there were some new ones this season that started right from the beginning, stuck with it, and just kept building on it. And wow, even watching those.
Man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's like, like I've said it a few times. Maybe I should say it some more. I don't know. But how do you, deliver those messages of how proud you are, or even inspired by them to be determined?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's so cool. I love that so much for you too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a passion. That's the biggest thing about it. I know we've got like at least is a harvest moon coming up. Can you share anything about that?
So we do have a full moon coming up. It is an eclipse. I always kind of get these mixed up. Full moon lunar eclipse. That's it. Full moon lunar eclipse on the 15th. And so, Misty, I have to be honest. I am moving as a professional astrologer. I'm moving from the Western astrological model to a more Vedic or sidereal astrology. Basically, what that means is that so Western astrology follows the equinoxes. So every year on the equinox starts Aries season, or the spring equinox. Aries season never fails. That's how it is. In sidereal astrology or Vedic astrology, they follow the planets and the stars and how the Earth relates to those. And so it's more aligned with the current astronomy. The Western astrologers are saying, oh, it's going to be a full moon in, I think it was Virgo or something. If you look out the stars, if you look at the stars at night and you're like, if you're a stargazer like me, you're like staring, you're like looking at the constellations, you're like, wow, that's not the Virgo constellation. That's the difference. I believe it's a 28-degree difference, so it's a little bit different. And I don't want to say one is better or different than, obviously a little bit different, but there's not one better than the other. It's really the one that resonates with you the most. And so if we look at the astrology for the full moon coming up, I believe it's going to be in Leo. I'll have to double check for you, but we can do some Western astrology because I feel like most of the listeners are going to vibe with that a little bit more. So the Western astrology full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. And so first and foremost, eclipses are giant transformational events. It's almost like a karmic ending or beginning. And so the big thing about eclipses, and for anybody who's a moon manifester or manifests with the moon or does intentional work or anything like that with the moon cycles, you know that eclipses are super quick energy. So what that means is because they have this, because the way that the sun is going to be crossing over the moon to give the shadow, it turns the light off and then it turns the light on, right? Or I'm sorry, the Earth's shadow crosses over the moon. That's why it gets dark. And so it gives the light off and it gives the light back on. So it's this super fast energetic transformation. Anything that you're manifesting with this lunar eclipse, the full moon, or the new moon coming up in October, I believe, on the 2nd. Anything you're manifesting, you got to be super clear, very, very crystal clear, because things are going to be moving very fast. So say, for example, you say, man, I have this toxic job, or I have a toxic relationship, or whatever it is that's not working, and say, universe, take this away from me. Girl, be prepared because your life is going to change. It's going to be very fast. So that's
Wow.
why it's very clear if you're going to be manifesting with the moon. Like I said, this particular full moon eclipse is going to be happening in the sign of Pisces in Western astrology. And so Pisces is this energy of a spiritual, intuitive, spirituality, intuition, connecting to your intuition, connecting to the mystical worlds beyond, even into transformative realms, right? So other dimensions, other realms, other ideas, other ways of thinking. And so it's giving you this, it's shining the light on, are you listening to your intuition? Are you listening to your gut? Are you trusting your emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know, like, anytime the universe asks us a question of ourselves, right? Or, should I go this way or that way with my job or my life or my family or whatever? You already know the answer inside of yourself. You just do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much stuff that's piled on top of us. Like, we have societal views, we have our parental views, we have our familial, friends' views. Like, all of these different perspectives are layered on top of us, and we're not listening to ourselves. So this full moon is giving us an opportunity to tap back into that.
Wow. Nice. Thanks for sharing. It is, but it's very enlightening. It's, because like you said, maybe, I think people pay attention, paddleboarders, when we're out, we see stuff, we're looking, but they may not know a lot about that. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you happen to be paddling during the full moon eclipse, I think it'll be later in the evening time. I'll have to look at the exact time. I don't have that information on me right now. But if you happen to be paddling and it'd be late at night, you see this eclipse, just take a moment, enjoy. Usually full moon eclipses are a couple of hours, like from the penumbral, I think I'm saying that right, penumbral eclipse, right, where you start to see a little bit of the shadow, and then it starts to fully cross across the moon, and then you have the after shadow. I forget what it's called. It's just like a little bit of darkness. It's very scientific, Misty.
Yes, it is. It sounds like it.
But it's a couple of hours, right? So you'll be able to see it. And just take this moment, and I always like to think about what were our ancestors thinking about when they see this eclipse, because it can be very scary, right? Our ancestors didn't know that this was a normal, I mean, obviously they did after a while, but they didn't really know that it was going to be a normal thing, every 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while they did, but, seeing that, like, my God, why is the moon turning red, at the nighttime?
Yeah.
So just think about that kind of thing and thinking about your intentions, and just be really clear what you want. Full moons are all about gratitude and being grateful for the blessings that you have experienced during the lunar cycle. So whatever happened or whatever intentions you set at the new moon 2 weeks ago, kind of manifesting right now. And then the eclipse is taking away anything that is not serving you in a big way. And then we'll continue on to the next new moon cycle, the 2nd of October.
Wow. Nice. That's amazing.
Powerful. Yeah. Powerful portal.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. That's really cool. Where were you during the eclipse back in the spring? Was it the big one?
The solar eclipse.
Yeah, was it April?
Yeah, I was outside watching it. I was doing science experiments. My friend and I
had a feeling.
I'll just send you a picture of me doing my science experiments. My friend and I went to the Denver Observatory, and it's this observatory park. It's a little park in the middle of town. They have a giant couple telescopes out there. And, the Astronomical Society is holding an event. Of course, your girl's out there. And so I knew it was going to be a solar eclipse, right? So solar eclipses is the sun, the moon is in between, and then you got the earth. So the moon is kind of giving the shadow off. And so whatever sun is peeking through on the other side of the moon is what we would see. So I brought my disco ball, and I brought my colander. And so what I did is I used the sun's reflection off the disco ball to show the light off of the sun on a wall. And I'll have to send you a picture because it looks really cool. The way the light reflected was crescent moon. So a disco ball would normally be like just dots, right? But imagine instead a bunch of crescent moons.
Wow, cool. Yeah, send me the photos.
I'm gonna have to, girl. And the colander did the same thing. So it's just, it's like a pinhole camera. So we just did that, and it was really fun because moms brought their kids over. We had people take photos with the disco ball, and it was really cool. They were like, "Wow," because you can't, if you don't have solar glasses, you cannot look at the sun. You'll burn your eyeballs out.
Right. Yes.
So that's why we did some science experiments for people who didn't have, the glasses.
Yeah, that's awesome. I thought of doing some stuff like that too, but I actually just went on my paddleboard and was on the water. I didn't look up, but I just wanted to see what it would be like on the water, like on the lake. Like what
did you notice anything different? So you know how the sun shines into the water, and it has the kind of the sun has like the starburst in the water. Have you seen that, how that looks?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Did it look any different during the eclipse?
Well, we were in our location, we were actually pretty close to a full coverage.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and actually some people even traveled because we were that close. They only had to travel maybe about an hour about an hour from where I'm at anyways, or an hour and 20 minutes. And that spot was claimed. And get this spot, kind of funny, supposed to be, full direct coverage. You know what it was called?
What was it?
Lunar Pier.
No. Oh, serendipitous. Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know. It was pretty crazy. And I know what spot that is. I know where it's at. I've been there before. It's right off of actually Lake Erie, which is heading pretty close to Ohio border. So any spot, even probably south in Ohio, of course, they had pretty good coverage there too. But so did we. I mean, there was probably I can't remember exact percentage that, wasn't, but it was very small, very limited. And, but what I noticed was, of course, how bright it was getting. And then it did go dark, but it was a weird dark, like a grayish kind of murky dark. And, the lake got very calm. Just all of a sudden it was like silence.
I have heard of that phenomenon. Like the birds think it's nighttime or something. They're like confused. Everything gets quiet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it went. It went just like super quiet, flat lake. There's people kind of having a viewing party off to the side over by the beach a little bit. And I was like, oh, it's kind of eerie. And then I was taking pictures, not up high, but obviously, but just like around me and what it kind of looked like. And then then it bounced back. It just like, once it was over, then it just went like right back to normal activity. Like, and there was a few swans out kind of, pedaling around, and it was very, very serene, just to experience it, I guess, on the paddleboard like that.
Wow. That is so cool. Man, if it was warm enough, girl, I would have been out on the water too, but it was really cold. I was looking at the pictures the other day. We were in sweatshirts and like boots. It was cold. It was a nice sunny day, but it was chilly. Yeah, it was really cold.
Oh yeah, it got warm here quick in April.
Lucky.
Yeah, and just stuck around. I mean, you'd have your ups and downs. I mean, we had a pretty cold weekend this past one, and you would think, uh-oh, what's happening now? And look at the weather ahead, and we're back into the 80s and sunny.
Man, don't let go, summer. Hold on a little bit.
Hold on a little further. I know.
Exactly. Like, I was thinking about going to the pool today to get in some swimming laps and stuff and some sunshine, and before they close them off for the season.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Nice. Awesome.
Get those shines. Yeah.
Great. Well, is there anything else that you would want to share for the pod, and anything else you want to plug? Or
yeah, I would just say, if you have been seeing paddleboarding around your area and you're curious about it, don't wait. Summer is almost over. There's literally a handful of days left. Go give it a shot. Most likely, 9 times out of 10, your teacher is going to be very welcoming, and you're going to find a great group of people to experience something new on the water. Try it out. Get out there. You might find that you fall in love with this new sport. So I would definitely say get your
Awesome.
butt out the water.
Get your butt on a board.
Get your butt on a board. You owe it to yourself.
That's awesome. No, that's a good closing message to keep everybody inspired or just willing to do it. I mean, honestly, like just to piggyback off of that, I mean, like we were talking about the girls paddler group, you know, I think paddle borders and whether we're in different states or regions, that's what it's about, is to have community, to have some sort of connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't be
you're
afraid.
not alone. You don't have to sit at the house all the time. You don't have to go to the same clubs or bars. Like that's over. That's 10 years ago, girl. We're in nature, okay? We're in nature.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thanks for being here and sharing. I love it. It's so inspiring.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Misty. This has been a great start to my day. Thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. I love it.